This tutorial starts with a song, but it's only a few seconds long.
Computer animation. Computer animation. Computer animation.
Let's get started with animation. Hi everybody, I hope you're fine. This tutorial covers a little bit about NURBS modeling, a little bit of mesh distribution, and some rendering. So it's a combination of different things, and I basically wanted to create a sort of window which is quite complex and which lets the light shine onto a surface. So let's get started with, well, a circle, for example. The circle sits in the center of the scene, and we duplicate it now, Control D, and press the key R to get the scaling tool, and we scale it down like this, just like this. Now we select both of them, and we go to Modeling, and Surfaces, and Planner. We could have used one of the icons here as well, this one. The surface looks black, which doesn't matter, it looks great from the bottom. We could reverse it now. Actually, we can do this, surface and reverse direction. Now it's black down there, doesn't really matter. In fact, we can always untrim it and retrim it and keep certain parts. Actually, I can scale the rings a little bit, component mode, and just shrink these things just a little bit. Maybe just like this, just for fun. I select this and I go to FX now, and under FX I find the mesh menu set, and I create a mesh network using the option box. Because it's a NURBS surface and mesh usually deals with polygons, but we can walk around this using the instancer option here. We apply this, and you already see that something is happening in the scene. Let's reset the settings so we go back to the mesh for the next time when we start this command. Now here we have the mesh distribute node, and let us center the distribution for a start, because we want it in the middle of the grid. The next thing is they're currently distributed 10 of them in a linear fashion. We want them in a grid fashion, and the grid is this entry here. Here we have the distance in X, that's that distance, and here in Z, the distance in Y is not crucial because we have only one layer. It's totally flat. That has to do with grid Y is set to 0, so we have only one layer. But we can have many more of them now. And the beauty of mesh is that it deals with these masses of objects very nicely. And already I think I like this. I think it's fine. Now in order to rotate this so it is in the position of a window, oddly enough, we need the placer node here. We cannot grab the objects in the scene and just rotate them with the ordinary rotating tool. We need to add a placer node. So now I can use the rotate tool here and rotate the whole object up. Actually, if the distribution is too straight for you, you can now go back to the distribution node, and down here you have the strength setting, and there's a random strength. For example, this is the strength of the whole distribution, but this is the random strength, which is very interesting because you can also animate this if you like, and if you want to keep for example, this slightly random distribution, you can leave it like this. The step strength enables you to get rid of some of them, and from the top and from the bottom in this case. You can also apply a map here. It's a really powerful system. The seed changes the distribution as well. So we are back to where we actually want to get to. We need a surface now. Here is the surface. And we go to the Make NURBS plane node and use the width here in order to make it really big. And we don't need to see the grid now. And we can give the surface a nice color, an Arnold standard surface shader with a preset of, say, clay. Now we need a light to shine into that room, if you like. That's the inside of the room by definition. Actually, we can move the whole thing to this side so it gets more obvious. We need a light now, and we go to Arnold and create an area light. This is the direction of the light, so we need to turn it round. Like this. We don't have to turn it round quite straight. Now we go to the spacebar. We hold the spacebar in order to make the hotbox pop up, and go to panels, and we look through selected now. The selected is we're looking through that lens now of the light now, and you see in the background here is the sort of horizon, and we want the influence of the shadow of our object to shine more or less on the ground floor, and maybe from a little bit from the side. Now we can go back to either using the hotbox or panels and perspective to the perspective camera, which is our standard camera. Now you see the light. We can scale the light now, make it quite large. We uncheck normalize in order to make it shine a little bit stronger, and we already are able to render the scene now. Let's go to renderer, Arnold, and run the rendering. It's interesting what we see down here. And it's interesting what we see here, so we need to raise the exposure. And now we get an illumination of our scene. Here you see because the geometry is not totally 100% intact, we have these kind of light effects here and down here. Interesting for us is this shadow, and the shadow doesn't resemble anything of the geometry of our scene and of our mesh object, and the reason is the spread. The spread is currently set to 1. If we reduce it to 0, everything will be visible on the ground now. And actually this is too much and too rough, I guess. It's red because the ground is red, but we can raise the spread slightly to 0.01. I think that's already enough. Maybe too much already. Maybe too much. So 0.005 maybe for the spread, which is looking quite good. These different render passes of Arnold when Arnold cleans up the noise. So to wrap this up, we created a NURBS disk with a hole inside. We created lots and lots of replicas of this object using the mesh network. Then we used a little bit of randomization and placement and created a scene with an area light which shines on a red floor. And with this, I leave you alone, and bye-bye.